Well, I'm here with Michael Lindley, who's the coordinator of the Santa Monica Arlington West Memorial. Michael, tell me a little bit about what inspired you to get involved with such a powerful memorial for veterans who've fallen.
I strongly believe in the human cost of war and doing something about it. It needs to be done. Also, I'm a veteran. I want to make sure that the young men and women coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan are properly taken care of. There's a lot of reasons, if I can, if my our national mission statement is to end nuclear weapons and so there's a lot of reasons but I just it's something that's important to do. I think that it's you can educate people, and another thing is to educate people, give them the opportunity to be able to think in another direction.
Definitely. Well, just being here and observing people coming up and talking to you and the other volunteers at your booth, it seems like, it's just a powerful monument. As you can see, thousands of crosses. How many crosses are actually laid out right here in front of us?
We have probably 2,500 crosses out there, and we use red crosses as one red cross stands for 10. And then we have, if you notice, we had in front of our memorial coffins out there, there are blue crosses. Those are to indicate how many died last week in Iraq and Afghanistan. We believe it or not. Here, can you imagine the families who found out that we're going to be bringing the troops home from Iraq? Well, that's good. That's great. But let's say there's 3 died this week in Iraq. That's good news for them. It ain't no good news at all. It's bad news, and that's the way it is, but that's the way it is.
One of the things that's really another very powerful aspect of being out here is seeing some of the stats. Of course, where the focus is on memorializing servicemen and women, but of course the various innocent people that are often lost, and the invisible victims of war, the civilians, children, women, things like that. And one of the things you guys do have here, which is very powerful, is a sign basically indicating that if you guys were to account for all of the civilian deaths in recent wars, you wouldn't even have enough space here on the beach here at Santa Monica to have enough crosses laid out, because it's such a big number.
That's true. That's true. And how do you get people to understand something like that? You have to give them a visual, and they need that, and because the visual works, we get people coming up to this table with tears in their eyes, and when we tell them the one Red Cross stands for 10, it even upsets them more, and you have to show things that those things work, and it affects people, and as you came down here, that you saw while we have the human cost of war with their injuries, we have Americans on there, we have Iraqis, we have people from Afghanistan, we have across the board. We want to show the cost of war. And that's what's important.
Definitely. Well, just being here and observing people coming up and talking to you and the other volunteers at your booth, it seems like, it's just a powerful monument. You can see it on the faces of people walking by that they're affected by what you guys have here. What are some of the common comments or reactions you get from people?
We get people who are angry. Not as many as we used to. But they're angry because they get the wrong impression. They think this is a peace protest. From the very beginning of this, when this memorial was set up, it was a memorial to the human cost of war. Now, you can take that in a lot of different ways, but it's important that it's understood. That's what it's all about. It's you have to get people to realize that, and to begin to understand that there's just more to war than just being a war. Saying going out there and we got to win this. It doesn't work that way, because a lot of powerful things happen to people. Families lose a loved one, sometimes two. Young men and women come back with many problems, mangled, single, double, triple amputees.
And even the psychological effects. As a veteran yourself, Michael, you could probably speak to this, and you probably know friends and who've experienced that. But just even things like post-traumatic stress disorder. I've read a lot about, especially with the proposed pullout from Afghanistan in America. A lot of mental health service organizations are sort of talking about preparing to accommodate the needs of veterans that are going to be returning, and kind of the need for psychological support and counseling.
This is true. Sure, yes. Give me an example. Right now, there's a serious problem with below the waste of explosions, and a lot of men are coming back, and they lose basically a big part of their manhood, and that's sad, and it's a big problem. Can you imagine? You go back there, you're going to be a hero, you're going to come back home a hero, but then you're left with a big important part of your life. And this needs to, people need to understand this. They need to know that there's a lot of young men and women out there are going to be pretty disturbed about this problem, and we need to find ways and answers. These are something it's never been explored before, and so it's what's going to happen is, it's going to be a frustrating problem. There's always lagging problems. Probably right now, probably 40% of your Vietnam veterans are homeless. A big problem. Committing suicide in big numbers every day.
I read some facts about Vietnam vets that more veterans ultimately died at their own hands from suicide than actually died in armed combat, and that's just a horrible statistic.
Yeah, and there was also a thing called flagging. At the end of the war, there was this thing called flagging, where they were so frustrated with the position they were in, they were shooting their officers, a lot of guys were shooting themselves, trying to get out, which is actually happening in Iraq, in Afghanistan too.
We just don't hear about some of that stuff, I'd imagine, because it's it's either classified or it's just off the record.
I ain't going to tell you. For example, in the beginning of the war, we weren't allowed to see the coffins come home.
Exactly.
So one of the things we did in our organization is we put out as you've seen, the coffins were out there. The reason why they're out there is to get people to realize that young men and women are dying every day, but we want them to see coffins. We want them to see this in their face and have to be able to say, what is that for? And it's for because we need to, that's what a lot of the young men and women are doing. They're coming home and that, and they're not only coming home, but they're coming home in pieces. And so these are all closed caskets. A lot of them are closed caskets. You never get to see her. I mean, can you imagine a mother opening up a casket and seeing her son all in pieces? It's a very sad thing to think about.
Yeah, those families don't get the luxury of having an open casket funeral for closure and things like that.
All that matters is one person dies. That means one family is missing something. A member of their family, and that's a big problem. The hell with this. They're thinking, the hell with the 6,000. We lost a member of our family.
Yeah, the numbers, I mean, it's all relative based on the impact that it has on your family. I mean, one fatality is enough to disrupt an entire family. Well, Michael, one last plug for what you guys are doing here. Of course, you've been here for about over 7.5 years and going strong, which is a huge testament. And there was a award-winning documentary called Arlington West, and here's a copy of the cover there.
We do this memorial every Sunday, honoring the soldiers in this way, to give an opportunity for their families and their friends to have a place to come and grieve. It's a group called Veterans for Peace.
I joined 3 years ago, and I really didn't expect to go to war. We have a lot of Marines in our unit that have been going AWOL. Like I said, I'm scared as it is, and I'm pretty sure they're scared and they can't tolerate the fact that they're going back, and just knowing that they've been there and knowing what they've seen, they don't want to see it again.
So you want a bunch of kids coming out of service with no help whatsoever, no deprogramming, then that's what you're going to have when you cut the funds. I'm in the VA right now for post-traumatic stress disorder.
And folks can definitely go to your website, arlingtonwestsantamonica.org. Find out more information about the movement, the memorial, and also how to get involved. You guys are always looking for people to come down and volunteer their time on Sundays, every Sunday.
That's for sure. You come down here, you get to experience what we do down here, but the real experience is be able to experience these young men and women who come back from Iraq and be able to sit down and talk to them. Not only that, the emotions for all these years that I've been putting memorials out there and helping families who have lost somebody, it's very emotional, and but then again, it's satisfying in some way because you're helping somebody. But then again, it's very heartbreaking sometimes, and I go to tears. A quick story. In the very beginning, when I first got down there, I saw a group of young men who were being trained to go over to Iraq, and they were sitting around a cross, and they were in tears. They had been drinking; they're underage, but they were in tears. And I went over to them, talked to them, and they were sitting along the side, along the cross of the sergeant who was their platoon sergeant, and they were crying over him. And you sit there and you say, is that how far it reaches?
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's so many stories like that. I mean, I can sit there and just tell you stories for over and over that I have people I've met.
Tragic stories, every one of them tragic, no doubt. Well, again, I want to encourage folks to check out Arlington West, Santa Monica, and check out the website there and get in touch with Michael to get involved.
Yeah, just come down. We have a contact on our website. We have 3 people you can contact, and it'll work out. And then you can come down here and get the experience.
All right, wonderful. Well, I commend you, Michael. Thank you so much for volunteering your many years, and we appreciate what you're doing out here.
And I appreciate everything that the effort that you're making here.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.